Hey guys, it's Lily. I'm on my hammock, starving. I waited way too long to eat, but I feel that I needed to make a video today, just kind of a heartfelt video, sharing some things that are in my heart. And I feel it's important to share with you guys because I know a lot of what you guys are seeing now about my life. Maybe it's easy to, well, I'll start off by saying this. The other day I was at my sister's house and she told me how a few of her friends are like, they follow me on social media and stuff, and they're like, oh my gosh, your sister has the perfect life. And you know, I've heard that a lot just from different people who will tell me, oh, my friend follows you and she swears that, you know, she wants whatever, she wants to be a mom like you, or she wants to whatever, just you have the perfect life. And you know, while I feel like a lot of my life right now is really good, I want to remind people that it hasn't always been this good, and that I definitely come from a long rocky road that led me to where I am today. And I wanted to share some of those kind of like adversities that I went through that got me to where I am today, and I hope that it could help you guys to understand where I'm at today, and maybe give you some hope to, if you don't have the best life right now, how you can totally create the best life for yourself. So I mean, it all stems back. I remember probably the most pivotal times in my lives were like changes and things, decisions and choices I was making that were gonna affect my future. Were probably around the time that I was like 14, 15. At the time I was living at home. I remember I started dating. I always had boyfriends. I had boyfriends from as early as I could remember, kindergarten, I'm not lying. And for me, that was always my struggle. Just like dating guys and then like not really, you know, like where am I going with this relationship? But I would like always fall in love. And I felt like in my teenage years, my life kind of revolved around like what relationship I was going to be in next. And a lot of those relationships were not the best for me. They were just kind of like, they were people who weren't bringing out the best in me, but I don't know, I wanted to be in love. I wanted to be in these dumb relationships. And then my family life, you know, I kind of think back, like, why was I always like reaching for a relationship? And I think of my family life and how it was far from perfect and just dysfunction all around. And my mom was a single mom, and she waited tables, and we lived with my grandparents. And my dad lived in another country, and we would only see him in the summers. And when we did, I felt like we had to go to another country. We would go to Guatemala every summer. And it always felt like, no, we had to leave our home, and being with dad meant leaving the country, and it was always so hard. We had to leave our mom, and then we'd come back, and he kind of wasn't in our life, but he was. But I kind of like was okay with him not being there because we kind of had a rocky relationship. And then my mom remarried to what appeared to be a great, I mean, he was a great stepdad to me, but he, you know, he caused a lot of contention in the home, and there was fighting. And then in the end, you know, towards getting older, again, me still in these relationships that are kind of going nowhere, not really bringing out the best of me. Then I finally graduated high school, and I had opportunities to go to college, and once again came back because I was dating someone and I missed them, and kind of like missed out on opportunities because of that. But I also had other plans for my life, and at the time I went to school in Utah, and I just thought, there really isn't. I wanted to really do music, and I thought that there wasn't much opportunity out there. So I came back to Miami, got in the music business program, and just my life changed. It was awesome. I like was opened up to a new world and new goals, and like I knew what I wanted to do. And probably around that time, my mom divorced my stepdad of like almost 15 years. He had an affair on her. It was a lot of turmoil and drama in the house, and at the time I was the one like holding down my mom, at the same time being in dysfunctional, what I call dead-end relationships. And just, I remember that time just being a really dark time in my life of just like soul searching and like, God, what am I supposed to do with my life? I knew that God put me on this earth to do great things, but I didn't know how I was going to achieve any of those things. I didn't know how my life was going to come out of where it was. And it was just in this sad state of a relationship that was going nowhere, family that I just wanted to like shake my mom and wake her up about so many things that were happening, and just like desperately needing a change in my life, because it was far from the positive and great life that you see today. It was filled with a lot of sadness, tears, pain, and just figuring out how I was going to actually make something of my life. And a pivotal time in my life was when I moved out of my house and I had an opportunity to go to California. And it was then that I really decided that if I was going to have any kind of, that if I was going to get the life that I wanted, it needed to start with me, and it needed to start with changes that I needed to make within myself. And the people that I was hanging around, I needed to just cut them out of my life. I needed to stop hanging around the environments that I was hanging around, and I needed to change up here, and I needed to connect more with God, because I had distanced myself from him through my choices and decisions. And I knew that I loved him so much. I knew that God was a huge part of my life, but my actions weren't telling him that. My actions were telling God, yeah, I love you, but this person's more important. Yeah, I love you, but right now I don't got time for you. And that's what my actions, but my heart was always like, God, I love you so much, and I know everything I have. He took me out of all of my challenges and trials. It was my faith that got me there. But yet I'm now showing God through my choices and actions that he's really not that important to me. And so that pivotal time in my life, I was 26 years old. I was feeling a little like the weight on my shoulder, like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to meet someone. I just keep running into these guys that I get nowhere with, that do not bring out the best in me. And all along, again, family life just completely dysfunctional. Nothing there in my family that told me, Lily, you can have a happy marriage, a happy life. You can succeed and do great things. Like, there was nothing there to tell me those things. And but inside I had this will, I had this thing inside of me that was like, no, you're destined for a better life, Lily. And it was God who put that in my heart. I knew that I deserved a better life than the one I was giving myself. So I started with me, you guys. I started becoming the person that I wanted to be. I started reading books and diving into new ways of thinking, and really working on that relationship with God, and saying, okay, if you're supposed to come first, I'm going to put you first. Changing the music I listened to, and just surrounding myself with people that actually brought out the best in me, even though maybe they weren't people that I would necessarily see and be like, oh, I want to be friends with that person. But anyways, guys, those changes, that is what led me that helped me to beat all of the odds, to break away from what my family life, what I was destined to have there, what was happening, in my family life, what was happening in my dating life. I watched all of my friends get in the same kind of relationships, and they ended up getting pregnant and being in these dead-end relationships. And because of the choices and changes that I made in my life, and because it was very deliberate, it wasn't this like, oh, it fell on my lap. It was deliberate. It was choices that I made, and that's what I want you guys to realize. So the life that I'm living now were choices that I made because I knew I wanted a better life. And so while you look at my life today, and it does feel pretty darn perfect, even though it's not. I have problems. My husband, we disagree. I have things that still hurt my heart. I got family members on drugs. People are falling apart around me. Things are not perfect in my life. I have a kid that I struggle with that has the worst attitude, and I don't know what I'm going to do with this child. If he's acting like this at 5, what am I going to do when he's a teenager? But the life that I've created for myself now was something deliberate. The positive environment that I surround myself with now was chosen. And they were choices that I had to make, sacrifices that I had to make so that I could live the happy life I'm living now. And I guess that's the last thing I want to share with you, is that if you are living a life that you are not proud of, that you want to see changes with, it starts with you, and it starts right now with seeing, what do I have to do to change the situation, and doing something about it. Do you need to walk away from a bad relationship that you know is not going anywhere? Do it. Do you need to lose weight and finally take control of your health? Do it. Do you need to, break free from a toxic friendship or a relationship with someone that's not bringing the best of you? Do it. Walk away and start making those small changes that will lead to happiness, your perfect life, because it does exist. And the way that I define it, this is the way that I define love and happiness and perfection to me is peace. I have complete peace in my life. And that's what I want other people to feel. So if you look at me, before you say I have a perfect life, say I have a peaceful life, because that is what I have. Peace of mind, just no drama, nothing crazy going on around me within my family, what I can control. So long story, but I wanted to share that with you, my heart. And I want you guys to know that you can create the lives that you want, but it has to start with you. You have to look in the mirror and see what changes you need to make in order to make that life come true. All right, guys, I hope you appreciate this and that I made some sense out of all of this, opening up to you guys in this way. I love you. I look at you guys as, a part of me. I get to share my life with you guys, and I thank you for all of your support and for just being there for me. Bye, guys.
Why did I have to touch the fire to know it really burned? Why did I have to shed so many tears and waste so many years? Couldn't I have listened up and lived what I believed? Well, it would have saved me so much grief and time upon my knees.